Hi guys, so today I thought I'd do a really quick sort of Living Dead dolls review. I'm just going to go through sort of like the basics of these dolls and sort of how they're packaged. So each doll comes in one of these coffin shaped boxes, and they do also have a lid on them, and on the front has a little plaque which tells you about the doll and gives you sort of a little bit of information about how they died. Each doll also comes with one of these, which is a death certificate, which inside, when you unroll it, it just says about who the doll is, and it gives you a little poem about how they died, and then it's signed by the actual designers and makers of the doll. So each doll has a different story and a different background, and some of them do actually come with accessories which sort of back up the story. So for instance, this doll is called Penny, and she has a knife which just slots in to a hole in the hand and easily sort of clips in place. So the story behind this doll is that she found life boring and dull, and she ended up jumping out of a window and cracking her head open, hence why just underneath the hair you can see all this blood coming from the top of her head. And on the death certificate it says, "Poor little Penny hit the street with her head. Now she keeps company with the creatures under your bed." So going into a little more detail about the dolls, there are various hair colours. Obviously Penny here has a very bright red hair colour. It is quite thick, although sort of if you do move it you can see the scalp of the head, but that's not too much of an issue because they make sure that the scalp is the same colour as the actual hair, so you can't really see it too much, but when you are just twisting her around you can't see any bald patches. The outfit of Penny is very simple compared to some of the other dolls which I'm going to show you today. She just has this black dress on, and then she has blood splatters on her arms and also on her legs. She's wearing these black boots with red laces, and she also has this necklace on which is made out of those tiny little beads. Let me just show you the clasp and you'll understand what I mean. So it's one of these little pop-in clasps. I used to have them sort of as necklaces when I was a child, so they are quite common, but it's just a really small little one of those. You can also sort of snap a few of these beads off and make it different lengths. I like to have hers more like a choker and have that hanging down at the back. So the face paint for each doll is different and unique to the character. So this one, her skin is very pale, so some of them do have more sort of realistic tones, but this doll has a very white skin colour. So she has the paint obviously of the blood splatters, which I have mentioned before, and then her actual face makeup, she has black lipstick on. She has sort of airbrushing around the eyes to give them this sort of deeper, darker look, and then she has very small little eyelashes painted on, and then she has very yellow and striking irises. And the other thing about Penny is she has this little studded leather band around her wrist. So these dolls, they are all sort of fully moving. The head moves around. Some dolls can look up and down, but Penny is one of the older dolls, so she can only sort of look side to side, and the arms can go up and down, and the legs also do move. So that is Penny. So the next doll which I'm going to show you, her hair's a little bit funky because she's been sort of in the box for a while. Her name is Sadie. Now there's very many sort of different series which are created by the Living Dead Dolls company, and each series has a different theme. Now in the first series we met a young girl called Sadie, and they have made different sort of versions of her sort of throughout the years that the Living Dead Dolls company has been around. So this was Sadie's 13th birthday, which as you can probably guess is just sort of like the 13th sort of anniversary of the first series. So I'll just show you this doll in a little bit more detail. So because it is Sadie's 13th birthday, she does come with a little party hat with this piece of elastic which stretches sort of and clips sort of underneath her chin, so she can wear it as a little party hat. And again, Sadie does come with a death certificate, the same as all the other dolls, and it says, "The first one to arise from her tomb, our little mascot of doom and gloom, Sadie has arrived to spread along fear all throughout our 13th year." So these dolls are rather on the expensive side. However, You can sort of go on sites like eBay and get secondhand ones. I have got a few secondhand ones off of eBay, and I just make sure each comes with their coffin box and any accessories or items which they come with. Some do come with little animals and little pets, and I also make sure they have their death certificate, because it's a great way to sort of keep track of who the doll is that you've bought. So with this version of Sadie, she can move her head in a lot of different directions, a little bit more than Penny did. She has this really nice little black and white dress. Now, Sadie's original dress looked a lot like Wednesday Addams, so this dress is sort of playing more on the colour scheme than the actual original style. So it has a little bow here, and then it has a little slit on the side. Now, all of the dresses which are worn by the Living Dead dolls do have Velcro up the back of them, so you can take them off and swap them around if you are someone who likes to make dresses, or even if you like sort of one doll more than another and you like the outfit of a different one, so you can sort of mix and match their outfits. On the leg she has two little white socks which are removable, and these two, well, a pair of shoes, the little Mary Janes, which they are kind of like a common thing to find on the Living Dead dolls. So a really distinguishing feature about Sadie is that she always has odd eyes. So she has one really light blue eye and then one really dark black eye. So this is a common sort of feature which you'll find within all of the Sadie dolls. She also has the black lipstick, much like Penny did, and she has very arched eyebrows. Her makeup is a little bit more simple. It's just sort of a black eyeliner with some eyelashes. Now, something which I really like about this doll, which I didn't really notice at first, is on the back of her neck she does also have a 13 tattoo, which I haven't seen on any of the other dolls, so I think this is just because it was a 13th anniversary exclusive. So another thing I'm going to add, which I didn't really know when I got these dolls, is they do have painted on underwear, which is just something to consider maybe if you're making her a fully white dress, because it can sort of show through, but each doll does have a different sort of colour of underwear depending on sort of their theme and their sort of like overall colour scheme. So I thought I would show you this doll next. It is another Sadie doll, which you can see from her odd eyes, although they are not as prominent as the one I previously showed you, but this one here does have a blue ring around it just to sort of make the distinguishing sort of feature about Sadie. This one, she does have very different makeup to the previous one. She has some sort of red airbrushing around her eyes, and if you look carefully you can see that they are sort of in sort of tear lines, which is to do with the birth certificate, so I will quickly get that out now just to show you. So this version of Sadie is her on her 16th birthday, so 3 years after the previous Sadie just here in the background, which I just showed you. So her death certificate is more like an invitation, so it says Sweet 16 party, and it says the very first one of many to come, 16 years later, a party for some. When she died there wasn't much of care, now she does what no one else would dare. So on the actual chipboard which goes on front of the coffin for each of these dolls, it does mention about her being able to cry at her own party, which obviously does sort of link to that famous song about it's her party and she can cry if she wants to. But it is such a very sort of simple and very subtle decoration to this doll. So this doll is wearing one of the more sort of original dresses which Sadie would wear. It is very Wednesday Addams-esque, although this is more of a coat. So it does have buttons down the front and then a little bow just below sort of the collar. It does also have Velcro right up the front, so if you did want to change it or add anything else underneath it, you could do that. The original dress for Sadie did not have buttons here, it was just plain black, and it also was more of a dress than a coat. So this Sadie is a lot more white tone than the one I previously showed you. The 13th anniversary Sadie has more of a skin colour, whereas this one is just sort of a white sort of ghostly feel. She does have an X on her forehead and also black lipstick, which is kind of turned down in the corners to give her this more sort of sad look. So it has been out of frame during this video, but she is wearing this little crown. Now this crown features quite often within the Living Dead Dolls series. It's just sort of like one of their one of their sort of signature crowns, which they feature on different dolls, and this can pop on and off, although I've decided to leave mine on because I do like to keep all of the accessories with the dolls. So she is wearing the stereotypical Mary Janes, which she wore on her last doll, and it is featured on many other dolls within the series. And she's wearing these little white socks, which are really cute and can be removed. And again, she does have black underwear on. So a thing I absolutely love about all the Sadie dolls is her really long black hair, and it's really nice and soft. As you can probably see, it's really shiny as well. It doesn't really feel too synthetic. As you can see, it does have a kink going right through it, and that's because when you do buy the dolls and they come packaged, their hair is sort of swept back in a ponytail. But once you sort of like unbox them and get them out, it does sort of have this kink in it. It does sort of go throughout time, but it does take quite a long time for it to sort of smooth out. It depends how much you sort of play with these dolls. I tend to leave them more on display than play with them because I don't want to sort of break them or anything, but I think her hair is really nice. This Sadie doesn't have any tattoos or anything. It was just the 13th anniversary one which had that. So this is the last doll which I'm going to show you today. Her title, I guess, is She Who Cannot Be Named, and she is from one of the more recent series, whereas the other ones were sort of like past series. And this was from the series called The Nameless Ones, so she, obviously her sort of title or name sort of fits in really well with that. And just her overall look really did remind me of Voldemort, because obviously he is known in the Harry Potter books as He Who Cannot Be Named, so I think they may have sort of done a little bit of a play with that. And I also think her outfit is sort of really fitting for that kind of witchy, wizard kind of scene of Harry Potter. So going more into the doll, she does have this very white pale skin again. It isn't really that common for them to have really white skin, but it seems like the ones I've shown you today all have. She does have a little Velcro bow in her hair, which can really easily be removed and then sort of just stuck wherever you like it. I like to keep it just on the side because that's where it came when I bought the actual doll. So she's wearing this really cute little dress. I really love the design. It has these little puffy sleeves, it's got buttons down the front, and this little belt. It is not removable, but it does sort of move around, so you can sort of decide whereabouts you want it. And it goes down just below the knees, and then again it has the Velcro down the back for if you do want to remove it. So the outfit of this doll is a lot more simple than the other one. She doesn't come with any specific accessories other than the bow. She does have little white socks and Mary Janes on like the other dolls I showed you. And if you are new to Living Dead dolls, then by now I hope you have realised that it is just a very common thing for them to have. It's not just because I have collected all the ones with them. So her hair again is the same sort of black type of synthetic hair than the Sadie one, so it is very soft and flowing. It isn't as long, it's sort of in this bob cut. Now I haven't really had too much of an issue with my doll's hairs, but a lot of people online have said they've had to sort of cut and restyle the hair just because sometimes the layers are a bit wacky. But I kind of like her having sort of a bit wild hair because I think it kind of fits in more with sort of the Living Dead theme than if they had pristine sort of really straight hair. This is the first doll which I'm going to show you, which has a fringe. Underneath she does just have sort of a plain forehead with a crack going down the centre. She does also have all these little cracks around her face, and her eyes have this really nice grey airbrush around them, and then her pupils and also sort of like the irises are this white and grey colour, so it does give this really haunting appearance. So this is the death certificate. It says on it, "She Who Cannot Be Named," and underneath the little poem says, "There once was a girl who could not be named. Her body was found in the wood, mangled and manged. To speak her true name was to invoke a curse, where she would stalk you to the end of the earth." So again, it does have this very sort of dark story behind it, which I do again think does link to the whole Voldemort sort of theme, although I know it isn't meant to be anything to do with Harry Potter, but that's just how I kind of view it. And if there are any sort of Harry Potter fans out there, they may also agree with me or completely disagree. So this is an example of a doll who has sort of more neutral coloured underwear on, which means you can get away with letting her wear sort of lighter colours or darker colours, but especially with the light ones, it won't show through very easily. Now this is the first doll, other than Sadie, who has the blood splatters, where you can really see how this sort of hand-painted face really does give a really cool effect. And although they do generally have sort of the same sort of face cast, their makeup and the way they're painted gives them a different look every time, so it doesn't look like you just have the same doll over and over and over again. So these are the first dolls which I thought I'd show you. I do have various other ones in my collection, sort of more Halloween themed ones, and I also do have part of the Alice in Wonderland series, which are really cool and really intricate, so I think I may do a whole separate video just for those. So please leave a comment below if you have enjoyed this video, and if you'd like to see any other sort of reviews or just me talking about the different dolls I've got. If you do have any Living Dead dolls and you do have a particular favourite, please leave it in the comments below, because I love to sort of check out the different ones, because it is very difficult to sort of keep track of all the different series which have come out. So I hope you have a great week. I'm hoping to do a Halloween haul within sort of the next week, which will be quite fun, as I haven't been able to do a haul for a while now. Thanks for watching, bye!